Hello, everybody, and welcome to Old Ass Movie Reviews. I'm Dave, that's Scott, and today's review is Star Trek: The Motion Picture.
Yeah.
It should have been better.
It should have been better. Yes, Dave, I definitely agree. It should have been better.
Had
This
you
is
ever,
what
Had you ever seen this?
I
I'm sorry.
I thought I had. I thought I had seen it, but it's that memorable that I don't remember a damn thing
Okay.
other than the bald actress,
The
who
bald
I
girl. Yeah.
think was probably one of the best actors on set filming this.
Yeah, I forgot her name, but I think she's passed away, if I'm not mistaken.
But this was what, 10 years after? Yeah, so
Yeah,
the original
about 10
series
years
ended in
after
69. And then this came out in 79. So 10 years after Star Trek. So fans were really clamoring at the time for more Trek, of course. And
Well, it happened right after Star Wars came out too.
yeah, but
So
yep.
you had that.
You had that, and it's like, what could go wrong? We've got an established series. We got this,
Right.
and what could go wrong? Well, there's a lot, in my opinion, that goes wrong with this movie. And one of the biggest problems I have may not have been as big a problem in 79.
Right.
The long pans and establishing shots of the Enterprise, fans are going to want to see that. It's just like on Picard when we saw the Enterprise D.
Yeah.
Thankfully, they sped it up and it wasn't nearly like this, but it was like, oh, so cool. We get to see the Enterprise and stuff. So I get that. But how many people in this movie were actually spacewalking? Every time there's a shot outside a ship, here's the MTV astronaut floating by.
Yeah.
Every time
when the Enterprise is leaving space dock, the guy does a backwards flip and he's all like waving and shit. It's like, come on.
Come on now. But I think a lot of that was fan service and to show off their budget.
Yeah.
And this movie does look good. They really did a good job with it on that.
Yeah, they did a really good job.
Yeah, with
the model looked really good.
Yeah, the models were nice
of the new Enterprise.
Yeah, but the
forgot, my mind went blank. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's all right. That's all right.
I'm old.
Well, yeah. So I forgot where I was going with. Oh yeah, the graphics were nice. I think the set designs were very monochrome, very dull, all the way down to the uniforms, the wardrobe. It's like, this is a bland movie in many ways.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
instead of keeping the brighter colors like the reds, the green, or the reds, the blues, the yellows of the original series really bright. You're right, they did knock those colors back and down a lot. It's like the happiest looking place was Vulcan.
Yeah,
it's the one with the most color,
and that was
it's like wait a minute,
lava.
You guys are on a lava planet, aren't you?
Yeah.
I was going to say something about the wide shots. You had talked, or you had texted me the other night.
Yeah.
You were like, you could edit this movie to a 45-minute episode.
This is an episode, man. This movie is an episode.
Well, it is an episode.
Yeah.
It's the Changeling episode. And that's, did you get a chance to watch that episode?
I have not yet. No.
It's this movie, basically.
Yeah.
Really, it is basically this movie. And the thing about the Changeling is it was shorter, it was tighter, and it didn't have all the panoramic shots. I honestly think you probably could have cut out 30 solid minutes of this, because a lot of that is like you said, the
every scene
looking
is too
at the
long.
Screen and seeing all the stuff fly by that isn't really a big deal to see fly by. I would rather, I'm trying to think of how to word it. I would rather would have wanted to see more and not seen it than for them to show me everything they shot and drag this movie out the way they did. I think it's a good first attempt, but like you said, it's an episode.
This needed a lot of editing, and I think it might have just been okay. I get it. Roddenberry had a vision. This is his
Right.
baby. Of course, he is probably going to push for these giant shots and
Right.
and really show this off. He's proud of it. Of course he is. I get it.
Mhm.
I really do. But what it made was for me a very boring movie, and it made me actually
Right.
mad because it's like I love Trek, but I really have a hard time. You just wasted 2 hours of my time here, and it's like no, they're everybody except Alicia, whatever her name. I can't think of her name. The bald. Um,
Her name is Persis Kambata. Her real name is
oh,
Persis Kambata. The character's name was Leela.
Leela. Yeah, Leela. I thought she was the most. Even when she came back as an
Mhm.
android, basically,
Right.
she
Right.
was still had more life than anybody else in this damn movie. It was
She
just,
yeah, she was the most intriguing one.
yeah. I mean, she.
The
Yeah, it just I don't know, man. It just all the way down to the performances, which kills me because all of these people can act. It was just like, what is going on here? Yeah.
Yeah, and I know I'm trying to the way that Kirk reacted to Decker and Decker reacted to Kirk. I get that Decker would be pissed off at
Oh
Kirk,
hell yeah.
but I think that guy would have understood he doesn't have he's got the technical
He doesn't have the
experience with the
combat
ship,
experience that Kirk
but he
does.
didn't have the yeah, exactly. And I honestly think that would have settled itself a lot quicker than it would have.
Well, they tried to
It,
make a backstory. Let's rewind for our listeners out there. This is the first of the Star Trek movies after the original series, and it deals with um we do spoil things, folks. So anyway, it
yeah,
deals with
if you haven't
Voyager
seen it,
6. And at the time of this movie being made, there was only two Voyagers, Voyager 1, Voyager 2,
right,
I believe. Um, that launched in the 70s. So this came out, the writers had assumed we would continue sending probes into deep space.
right,
Well,
probably did
I'm sure. And I'm sure. And
another podcast.
what we don't get to see is just we're just supposed to accept that this probe crossed into somewhere and just came back
Mhm.
sentient, and able to create, and it built. Did you catch the size of that cloud that it was in?
Yeah, well,
2 AU. It's making something that massive. And it's just like,
uh-huh.
wow.
The fan theory, and I don't know that anybody in Star Trek actually ever answered this, but the fan theory is that it got sucked into a wormhole of some sort and wound up in the Borg universe, like where the Borg are at. And the Borg are the one who found it, rebuilt it, put all the machinery on it, said, "Oh, this is what you're supposed to do. Well, we're going to help you." And they built it and sent it back. And on its voyage back, it was just annihilating everything and making information and bringing it to Earth.
Very Borg
So a
like.
lot of people think that the Borg created this thing. Now, whether they are the Borg that show up or whether the Borg that show up are the ones who built
Mm-hmm.
Voyager 6 to be V'ger, everybody has arguments. I
Yeah.
think that they are the ones who built V'ger. I would like to have seen the prodigy of those two and V'ger, come back. That would have been
Yeah.
interesting to see them like Cylons. They are literally machines that can reproduce,
Mm-hmm.
which would
Yeah.
be cool. I
Yeah.
just wanted to give that little.
No,
I'm a
and
nerd.
that's neat.
Total
I don't
Trekkie
buy that theory,
Trekker.
but it makes a great story. I don't buy the
Yeah.
Borg idea, but it works for the Borg. But the timing of that is that, yeah, hey, sounds great, makes a good story. I don't buy it, but I
Mhm.
like it.
Right.
It would work for me. It really would. I
Right.
think you know. So anyway, I thought it was interesting that they assumed that we would continue sending this out, but this thing comes back
Mhm.
sentient and looking to just talk to its creator, because that was its programming, was it was to send messages back. So it did, and it was doing that, but nobody knew how to respond to it. So it
Right.
was
Right. And in order for them to give its message back or to answer the message that it was sending out, they figured out somehow that it was an old NASA radio wave or an old NASA thing. And so Uhura, of all people, comes to save the day.
Yeah.
She finds the info that they need, and she's like, "Hey, it's this. This is what it is." So they're trying to connect to V'ger. That's already wiped out at least 3 Klingon battle cruisers, an entire space fleet, and if
multiple planets,
where Spock was at, yeah, where Spock was at, showing all the planets that it had basically downloaded. I'm like, oh man, this thing, it's not even thinking about anything else. But
it's
the
following
good
its
news
directive.
is it's all information and it's all there. So if those two can mate, then they've already got a entire planet universe, half a universe made. But anyway, they're trying to figure out how to do this. The machine goes out, it blows its own wires up to force the creator to come to it. Mm-hmm. And that's when Decker decides, well, this is my adventure, not yours. This is the woman that I love. I'm going with her, whatever the hell happens. And then that's the whole story, and that could have been told in about an hour and a half or less, with a lot less
I will
panning.
take it to 45 minutes in a heartbeat. It's got bones. It's got bones there, man. It's got.
I'm telling you. Watch The Changeling. Watch the episode called The Changeling, and you will sit there and go, "What? Why didn't they just show this at the theater?" It would have done the same damn thing.
There's a lot here, there's a lot here with this is typical Star Trek with a lot of morality at play. And it's very subtle, and that's what I appreciate about some of these episodes and when writers can be creative, and I can see where they're going here with the messaging and just basically showing society if the dangers of being so rigid and following these orders and the destruction and stuff. There's a lot of messages here, basically. So I don't know where I was going with that, but
you're not being beat over the head with any message.
That's just
I've never felt beaten over the head by the original series.
But that's what I really liked about this is like, wow, it's got something here. It's got the typical morality play that we see play out. I really want to like it, but I really despise it. So I really want to like it. It's just, you can't get behind this one.
There's the thing I think, like I said, that gets me is the storytelling of the story. Mm-hmm. We'd seen, like, I remember seeing this in the theater and going, I know this episode. Like I knew I didn't know the name of the episode at the time, but I knew that episode. I'm like, I've seen this. I know I've seen this episode. That right there already told me they weren't coming up with any new idea. The fact that got dragged out a lot. I mean, I liked looking at the ship. The ship was kind of cool looking.
Yeah.
But you can only, unless you're fighting, you don't need to see the outside of the ship 100 times. In long shots, close shots, more, medium shots. And that's what they did. They did that a lot.
A lot.
The one thing that I did think was kind of cool is when Spock is in the middle of the Kolinahr and he's trying to get rid of all of his emotions early on in the movie. It's like almost the opening scene, but he senses this presence in space. So the lady who's doing the ritual drops whatever chains he's supposed to put around his neck to show that he's lost his emotions. She drops him on the ground and says, "Your answers don't lie here. They lie out there." And she just turns her back on him and walks away. So Spock winds up on the ship, and he's decided he's going to go mind meld with V'ger. Not knowing what V'ger is, but he's like, I got to see what is going on in this thing's head. We're already in the ship. We're already trapped. That's a cool scene because he gets in the spacesuit, like you said, another spacesuit, and he times it to where this orifice is opening up and closing. It's almost like the machine is breathing.
It was really cool. I mean, it was really well done.
Like the whole thing was alive. It was really kind of neat.
I tell you what, it reminded me of in reverse order, of course, the Borg
Uh,
sphere on Picard season 3 of how they went deep inside
yeah,
into that. So,
yeah, yeah. That's a
so I was like, oh, you
good
guys are pulling from
notice.
when you wrote Picard. So yeah,
Right, they probably were. They're probably
of
like, how
course.
big can we make this ship possibly? And how much not to make it look like Star Wars, but be Star Wars Death
Right?
Star.
Pretty
But
much. Pretty
anyway,
much.
he times it where he shoots through this big thing that's opening and closing and breathing, and he gets in there, and as he's floating around, he's making a recording for the captain in case he dies. Like, this is what I see, and this
Mhm.
must be what it is. And when you go, that was the only thing that I really didn't have a problem with the wide shots and angles, because you had to see all that.
Yes.
You
And
had
that
to
was pretty
see the
pretty wild. Uh-oh,
immensity.
I'm losing my sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
About had a
You
crash.
had to see the immensity of the cloud and of the machine inside the cloud. And then he finally sees, like, um Leela laid out, but it's a
Mhm.
huge this she's as big as a planet easily. And Spock gets the bright idea. He goes, "Oh, well, I see the little gem on her throat. That must be like a connector of
Mhm.
some sort. I'll mind meld with that." Well, that lasts all of about a microsecond. He gets his ass blasted all the way back through that hole as Kirk finds out that Spock has probably left the ship. He's in a spacesuit. He's going to go save Spock. And as he's going out to get Spock, Spock's already floating back towards him like
Yeah.
he's already been zapped. And Spock is freaking out. I mean, as much as a Vulcan can freak out, he's like, this thing is nothing but logic, and
Mhm.
it's logic that was programmed however many, 300 years ago by that
Yeah.
point, like in the storytelling. So it's like this thing's been doing the exact same thing for 300 years. It just wants to know if there's anything else. So
Yep.
who's it going to call? It's going to call on its God, its creator. Come to me. I want to know. I have questions.
Message.
Yeah, I want to touch your face, touch the face of God.
Mhm.
I want to touch the face of my creator. And that for me is the deep part.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
for me
It's
was
really
the
cool.
point that I'm like, how many people want to meet God but don't want to die to do it? V'ger didn't want to die. He didn't know.
Mm.
He was scared. The thing was so intelligent, it was actually scared.
Yeah.
If you really think about it,
I
it's
did
just an
get that
interesting
impression.
thought.
It
Yeah.
was very almost childlike.
Yeah, well, because doesn't Spock say this thing is a child? You have to treat it like a child.
Yeah, yeah.
So Kirk is like, well, we're not going to do this, and we don't care. They're turning around and walking away. So Leela's standing there as the machine, and she's like, "Well, okay, we'll do what you say, but you got to bring us the creator." And he's like, "Shit!" And then I think McCoy looks at him and goes, "For a kid, it learns quick, doesn't it?"
Yeah.
Trying to
Yeah.
use reverse psychology on a machine. It didn't work.
No, no. And,
That was cool.
yeah, like I said, the story is actually good.
Right.
I just think the execution of this movie it failed for me. So I can appreciate
Yeah.
if anybody really digs it. I can see why you would
Mhm.
appreciate this movie. It was a hard one for me, and I've seen some crap.
I would
So,
love to see it. I don't know that, and yeah, right. We've seen a lot of crap, but this to me, I've always enjoyed. I do enjoy the movie. It should be edited. I would love to see somebody like Patterson get a hold of it and do a Patterson cut. The guy who did Obi-Wan.
well, let me tell
Because I
you,
think
I was so frustrated after watching this. I was about to run to my computer and start cutting it.
just start editing.
Yes,
Yeah,
I was like,
hey, I
no,
get it.
I'm not getting this energy. I'm not giving this any more energy. I'm done.
I get it though, because it's there, like you said, it's got the bare bones. It could, and I think it is in the editing. I
It
really
is,
do.
man.
The writing wasn't the greatest. It was serviceable.
Yeah.
Um, I don't.
It
Did
just
not look at
lacked. It,
who
it
wrote it.
lacked. It lacked that. No, but I didn't feel any chemistry really
Well,
on there.
in the old days, you had Kirk, Bones, and McCoy
Hmm.
fighting something, or trying to all three use their brain at the same
Yeah,
time to figure out a problem. Kirk would attack it like he was
they
the
all did it different. You got
he was
all
the
your different archetypes
animalistic.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, he was the animalistic attack. I'm going to fight this thing. Spock was the one who was thinking about it. Like, okay, now how can I outsmart it? And Bones was the one about the humanity of it. Like, why do we want to attack and kill this thing for no reason? So all three of them made one good person. Right. You know what I mean? This didn't have that.
Yeah.
And I didn't think of it until you just said it.
When you were talking about Kirk, do I attack it? Do I kill it? And I'm thinking, with Kirk, do I fuck it? What? So just one more thing.
I mean, he is Kirk.
I know.
Kirk pulls out his face, or I could either shoot you or have sex with you. I'm not really sure what I'm going to do.
I'm not sure where this is going to go, and I really don't care. You gotta love James T. Kirk. He's got so much fucking swagger, man.
They needed a better Kirk.
Delivers it, man.
They needed a better Kirk for this Strange New Worlds. He didn't hit it for me for Kirk.
We'll see.
I'm just saying for now. He doesn't have the barrel chest. Right. He's not like, doing the shock look and we got to jump into action kind of thing.
This is early, so he hasn't been seasoned with all that stuff that the older James T. Kirk has.
This is true.
So maybe I've seen good things from their writing, so I'm excited to see where it goes this next season on that. So which is starting soon.
I want to see the next Star Trek movie, which is Wrath of Khan.
Oh! I thought you meant there was a new one coming in. Like, what are you talking about? Why did I miss some Trek news? I was like, dude,
I was trying to give you like a segue into the.
Yes. So anyway, yeah,
I didn't do it well.
It's all good.
My subtlety is lacking.
When we decided we were going to do Trek movies, both being Trek fans. So this is the movie that I've been waiting for, is Wrath of Khan. To me, Wrath of Khan is, man, I put it there like if I'm looking at Star Wars movies, Empire Strikes Back.
Right. Right.
So this is like, wow, that was so good. And to me, the movies, they get better, they get a little worse, but they stay, in my opinion, pretty damn good all the way to the end. So I have issues with some of them, but
we will discuss those issues as we go.
We will.
I don't think we're not going to watch all of these all at once like we did with Star Wars.
No, because by the time be broken up.
Scott and I, by the time Scott and I were done with Star Wars, we were like, we hate Star Wars. But
no, just certain shows.
Certain shows, but it was just like, you were just like, you're wore down.
Yeah,
so we're going to go, we're going to do Star Trek, a couple of Star Trek movies. We're going to go back into movies that have a lot of music in them, like Saturday Night Fever.
And some random just drop-ins.
A couple of random movies, just to break it up. And then we're going to come back and do a couple of Star Treks and then go back until all the Star Trek movies are done. And in the meantime, we're going to probably talk about Star Trek series that we've watched that we've already discussed in length, and we don't care because we're nerds. So if you have any questions or a specific Star Trek movie that you like, that you just think was the best for whatever reason, let us know. Drop us a line. Drop us a line, hit us a like, give us a share.
Yeah. And you can listen to us on wherever you listen to your podcast, and we're on YouTube and Rumble. So thanks again, folks. Tune in next week for fun. I'm sorry.
God. Like a poor marksman, Khan, you've missed your shot. You've missed your target.
Somebody has seen this a lot.
If you want to deal with me, Khan, you have to come down here. Do you hear me, Khan? You have to come down here.
All right. Awesome. We will see you next week. Thanks again, folks.